Jim, I want to ask you the question. The testimony from Dylan Redvine's mother, do you think it gives the prosecution the ability to push this case forward, or does it come across that she may have an axe to grind with her ex-husband, Mark Redvine?
If your ex-husband killed your son, you'd have an axe to grind. Just because you have an axe to grind doesn't mean that it's not an authentic and genuine reason to have harsh feelings towards someone. And certainly murder of a child is about as heinous a crime as one can get. I think it establishes the motive. I mean, in terms of beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to need more than a motive, but the blood residue evidence, which I know Philip was just commenting on as to whether or not that's dispositive or not, if they match it up to Dylan and it's found under the carpet, perhaps the explanation is he somehow cleaned the top of the carpet, and that could establish the case beyond a reasonable doubt. How else would Dylan's blood get there unless he was harmed in that living room?
Right, and what do you think about this argument from the prosecution about motive? There's these photographs that we heard Corey Redvine testify to earlier this week, and they sound pretty shocking. Do you think that the prosecution makes a good argument that this was the motive? Because outside this motive theory, there really doesn't seem to be a reason why Mark Redvine would kill his son. Do you think the prosecution is establishing that, and would they be able to link it with other evidence to bring their case forward?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty powerful motive if the son is confronting his father in that way. I mean, we know the son didn't want to go to Durango. We know that this was a contentious divorce and there's problems with a teenager, 13-year-old teenager standing up to his father. And of course, at the age of 13, a 13-year-old really isn't equipped to stand up to a grown man. Is it enough? We shall see. But the other instances, there's no other plausible explanation as to how this death occurred. In opening statement, they suggested a wild animal could have done that. Seems very unlikely, especially given that there's evidence that a blunt force tool was used to damage the skull. And that testimony will also help the prosecution and hurt the defense.
Yeah, we'll see how that forensic testimony and evidence comes into court on the prosecution case.